host Nelson with What's Up Kansas City, and today I have a delightful guest on that I've known for I think maybe 7, maybe even 8 years. Uh, McKinney, talk to our audience about who you are and what you do and where you're at in life right now.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carlos. Good to see you. Good to see everybody out there in What's Up, Kansas City. This is Kreshaun McKinney, and coming to you in Zoom. We're all dealing with virtual and how that is impacting our world and our businesses, our communities. And I actually am the manager for audience engagement at the Nelson-Atkins. And I've been at the Nelson-Atkins for quite some time, 16 years, but I did not start out as the manager for audience engagement. I actually came in as the studio programs teacher. So the time that I've spent in Kansas City over these 16 years, I'm not from here, but I have just come to absolutely love and have a heart for Kansas City and its people, its history, its art, its culture. And I am still very much in love with this city. And the museum has allowed me some opportunities to get to know the people. And for me, I'm just trying to provide as many opportunities and platforms for our culture, for other artists, communities of colors to come in and have space and have voice in this creative industry that we are in. I'll be soon making my way to the Kemper Museum, where I will be the director of learning engagement starting the end of September. And I'm very excited about that. So excited about working with the Kemper team on building these relationships, because it's community relationships, people like you, Carlos, so many others who make what I do possible. I cannot do what I do without a community. I cannot do it without partnerships. And that's what I am trying to do.
All right. Well, there was two things I've learned. People call me the cutoff king because I jump right in on your conversation and just cut you off. But I'm learning patience.
Did you want to cut me off?
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you something when you were saying, you said you was with audience engagement, right? And that's self-explanatory, but I wanted you to tell our audience, well, what does that look like? What do you do? And then by being patient, you said your new position, and it seemed like it was similar to your old position, but it had a different title. And then I wanted you to tell our audience what that's going to look like, per se.
Okay. So let's see, that was 3 questions. I hope I remember all of them.
That's all right.
I gotta remember if I forget. Audience engagement. So for me, what that is instead of saying, here are a roster of programs, because what I do is programming. And instead of saying, these are all the programs that I've come up with, and I just want you to, pick which one you want to do and kind of fill you in a spot. I believe audience and community engagement is coming and saying, what would you like to do? What would speak to you? What is of your interest? And then create programming with you. My philosophy has always been doing programming with you and not to you. And so I try to do that as often as possible by coming to community leaders and members, artists of all kinds, because the art world is huge in terms of what falls under that umbrella. And asking, if we have an exhibition, this is the exhibition, or these are the themes of the exhibition, but how do you interpret those? How would you want to connect to them, instead of me just saying, here are things that I've already decided I want to do, and you just tell me which ones. Instead, I want to hear from you what appeals to you.
When my friends, and I call them mentors from afar, Rodney Thompson and Stetson McClinton.
Yes.
I know that you debuted one or two of their films, and when you do that, what do you do any Q&A or anything like that? Run that down. I know but I've never been, and what you're telling me, some of my audience might want to come to some of the things that you're doing at the Kemper and know what to expect a little bit.
Okay, so in terms of the films, Rodney and Stinson films, which are absolutely wonderful, and they are an incredible group of gentlemen. I've learned so much from working with them over these years. At the Nelson-Atkins, I believe we have screened 3 of their films, and we always have a Q&A. In fact, when we did their 12th Street film, we had Eric Stafford, historian Eric Stafford was on the Q&A, and we had Lee Stinson, and then what was great was at the time, Joe Maddox was still with us, and he was in the audience, and once we saw that he was in the audience, we just had him come down and join the Q&A, and basically he took over the Q&A.
That's excellent.
That's living history right there, and that's what you want. So that's part of engagement, and that's part of community engagement. For me, I want it to be multi-generational. You've got people, my generation, but those that came before me, and then those that are after me. We are trying to connect all of those ties. And so even though I'm moving to the Kemper, I'm still wanting to be able to build those community ties with our audiences here. Kansas City has such a rich history, and that history, we are certainly the African American community has a tremendous history, but that's also just part of general American history,
right.
And that is part of everyday life. How that history impacts us and how it impacts artists. Artists don't separate themselves from the lives that they are living that are impacted by all the isms that all of us face.
I'm the cutoff king. What I like is that you are African American, and having that position and being connected to our community allows artists and allows people like myself and my company to contact you and say, hey, the Nelson, how can we work with the Nelson? How can we do this and do that? And I want to applaud you for what you've done at your tenure at the Nelson, and looking forward to working with you at the Kemper.
Well, thank you, Carlos. I want to applaud you. Like I said, I cannot do these things, and all the community members that I have worked with over 16 years, there are so many who, like I said, make my job possible. I can't do what I do without you all. And same thing when I moved to the Kemper, they're very excited about these opportunities to collaborate and to partner with Kansas City, because we cannot do or exist as institutions without the support of our community members. And you've got to invite them in. Their voices are critical to the arts, to education, to history. Everyone brings something to the table. And you're part of the challenge is finding those opportunities that meet the needs of people, that meet their interests, and then also allow for intersectionality. We are learning from others and they are learning from us, and that's very, very important. That's education.
That was my next thing, because I know that you've got another meeting you've got to go to. But when I met you, I believe you were working with youth, and I wanted to. I am correct. Mr. Nelson's getting old, mind leaving him. Uh, but I wanted to ask you, are you looking forward, or do you have anything specifically planned for the youth for them to engage?
Yes, at the Nelson, we have an incredible team program. But as I go to the Kemper, we will also have, we've got Ellie who is in charge of our team programs. And so I definitely am looking forward to working with those audiences and youth, for me at my age now, that's teens, but that's also, the 20s something, the
Right.
college age students. You really want to work with them because, they're trying to determine their path. And you want to be able to be a voice and a springboard for them. You want to build them as ambassadors for their communities and broaden their horizons of just what's available. And that actually starts at, kindergarten, where, children need to be exposed to what are all the possibilities out there. And certainly children of color, really wanting to give them as many options for what they can do beside maybe the few that they know. Truly, broadening their accessibility for what's out there, or their sense of accessibility for what's out there.
All righty. Because we've got a new website that's just coming back online, What's Up Wichita, with new ownership. And the people that I've worked with up there, they're basically artists in the art community and what have you. And we're giving them a shout out because now that you're going to Kemper, I'm going to be giving them your information for that connection. And it was, I'm still in Jim Watts's line now. Jim always says to his guests, it was a plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the show. Do you have any closing words?
Just that plum pleasure. I will just say ting ting to that.
Oh, I like that. All right, as we always close, and watch, don't try to steal my lines when you see this. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't top that.
All right.
Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.